This is Linda Favla, Jeremiah 51a. There's no break of subject between this chapter and the last chapter. Yahweh is in the middle of saying that he'll destroy Babylon. Verse 1. Yahweh says, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against those who dwell at Leb-Kameh a destroying wind. I'll send to Babylon strangers who will winnow her. They'll empty her land, for in the day of trouble they'll be against her all around. Against him who bends, let the archer bend his bow, and against him who lifts himself up in his coat of mail. Don't spare her young men, utterly destroy all her army. They will fall down slain in the land of the Chaldeans and thrust through in her streets. Comment in verse 1, Yahweh will raise up a strong wind against Babylon and Leb-Kameh. It's a wind of war against them. Leb-Kameh is a code name for Chaldeans. In the code, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet is substituted for the last, and the second for the next to last, and so on. Jeremiah used the same code two other times, 25:26 and 51:41, NET translation notes. Why did Yahweh sprinkle in a little code? It must be his way of saying, I'm going to let you in on this prophetic secret. In verse 3, let the archer bend his bow against him who lifts himself up in his coat of mail. A coat of mail is so heavy that a soldier has to get under it and lift himself into it. But it's also a poetic image that when the Babylonians put on their battle dress, they lift up their opinion of themselves. They overestimate their military prowess. Yahweh's about to deal with their pride. Verse 5. For Israel is not forsaken, nor Judah by his God, by Yahweh of armies, though their land is full of guilt against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the middle of Babylon. Everyone save his own life. Don't be cut off in her iniquity, for it's the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He'll render to her a recompense. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, who made all the earth drunk. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations have gone mad. Babylon has suddenly fallen and been destroyed. Wail for her. Take balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Forsake her, and let's each go into his own country, for her judgment reaches to heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Yahweh has produced our righteousness. Come, and let's declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our God. Comment in verses 5 to 10, Judah and Israel have sinned against Yahweh, but God has not forsaken them. After 70 or more years, Judah and Israel might be getting comfortable in Babylon, but the message is, flee from Babylon, run for your lives. Don't stay in Babylon and be caught up in God's judgment and vengeance against her. The message to us is, save yourselves from this crooked generation, Acts 2:40. Yahweh has made all the earth drunk. He forced the nations to drink the Babylonian Kool-Aid, and they've gone mad. Babylon is suddenly destroyed. Wail for her. Maybe some balm will help. No, that won't help. The only thing is for everyone to go home to Yahweh, because Yahweh's judgment against Babylon reaches to the skies. Though we sinned against Yahweh, now he's produced righteousness for us. Come to Zion and let's declare how God has performed his marvelous work. He destroyed the mother of all abominations and saved us out of her midst. Verse 11. Make the arrows sharp, hold the shields firmly. Yahweh has stirred up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, because his purpose is against Babylon to destroy it, for it's the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Set up a standard against the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set the watchmen and prepare the ambushes. For Yahweh has both purposed and done that which he spoke concerning the inhabitants of Babylon. You who dwell on many waters, abundant in treasures, your end has come, the measure of your covetousness. Yahweh of armies has sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill you with men as with the cankerworm, and they will lift up a shout against you. Comment in verses 11 to 14, sharpen your arrows, take hold of your shields. Yahweh has stirred up the kings of the Medes against Babylon. It'll be Yahweh's vengeance against her. He remembers what Babylon did to his temple. Fly the flag that signals an assault on Babylon's walls. Execute your military strategies. Your plans are the plans of Yahweh, and he has determined that your plans against Babylon will succeed. God gives us success when we attack the enemy. We're more than conquerors through him who loved us, Romans 8:37. You, Babylon, dwell on the many waters. You sit on the webbing of canals between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and stretch yourself from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea, and from the Red Sea to the Black and Caspian Seas. Your extensive territories and treasures are a measure of your covetousness, but your end has come. I've sworn by myself that I'll fill your land with foreign armies like locusts, and like the thousands of cankerworms that eat the leaves off a tree. They'll lift up the battle cry against you. Verse 15. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom. By his understanding he has stretched out the heavens. When he utters his voice, there's a roar of waters in the heavens, and he causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain and brings the wind out of his treasuries. Every man has become brutish without knowledge. Every goldsmith is disappointed by his image, for his molten image is a falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, a work of delusion. In the time of their visitation they will perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for he's the former of all things, including the tribe of his inheritance. Yahweh of armies is his name. Comment in verses 15 to 19, Yahweh made the earth and stretched out the heavens, if that gives us some inkling of his power and understanding. His voice is something like the roaring of 1,000 white-water rivers, and he's in the quiet vapors that ascend in the distance as well. Whether it's the lightning, rain, or wind, he did it all. So give him credit. Don't let your understanding of God descend to that of a brute animal. Every goldsmith who makes an image fails miserably. Images don't even breathe. They're a vain delusion. When God visits the images and the ones who made them, they and their images will perish. The God of Jacob is not like the images. He formed all things and formed Israel to be his inheritance. Yahweh of armies is his name. Coming up, Yahweh speaks to himself in the second person, calling himself you. It was a mystery at the time, but now we know that in this section the Father is speaking to the Son. Verse 20. You are my battle axe and weapons of war. With you I'll break the nations into pieces. With you I'll destroy kingdoms. With you I'll break in pieces the horse and his rider. With you I'll break in pieces the chariot and him who rides therein. With you I'll break in pieces man and woman. With you I'll break in pieces the old man and the youth. With you I'll break in pieces the young man and the virgin. With you I'll break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. With you I'll break in pieces the farmer and his yoke. With you I'll break in pieces governors and deputies. I'll render to Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they've done in Zion in your sight, says Yahweh. Comment regarding verses 20 to 24, Yahweh's destruction of ancient Babylon is a type or archetype or prototype, similitude, likeness, foreshadowing, or shadow, take your pick. His destruction of ancient Babylon is a foreshadowing of the day of the Lord, because in that day the Lord will strike mystery Babylon. He'll come to the earth in the person of the Lord Jesus, strike down the nations, and rule them with a rod of iron. Isaiah 11:4 and Revelation 19:15. In verse 24, it'll be a rendering to the nations of all the evil they've done in his sight. When he asked 3 questions in chapter 49 and repeated them in chapter 50, we should have realized the answer was Jesus. The first question was, who is like me? That would be Jesus. The second was, who will appoint me a time? Also translated, who will summon me? The answer is Jesus. He'll be able to summon the Father's complete help and blessing on the earth. The third is, who is the shepherd who can stand before me? That also is Jesus. Of all the rulers in the history of the earth, Jesus is the only one worthy to rule and the only one who'll stand forever. Yahweh's idea of a king in the earth is that if he wants the job done right, he'll have to come and do it himself in the person of Jesus. Verse 25. Behold, I am against you, destroying mountains, says Yahweh, which destroys all the earth. I'll stretch out my hand on you, roll you down from the rocks, and will make you a burned mountain. They won't take a cornerstone from you, nor a stone for foundations, but you'll be desolate forever, says Yahweh. Comment in verse 25, Babylon's like a mountain that destroys all the earth, something like a volcano that overflows its lava on the whole earth. Yahweh will stretch out his hand, pull down that mountain's every rock, flatten it, and burn it. He'll not use a single rock from it as a cornerstone or a foundation stone for what he'll do next. The ruins of that mountain will be desolate forever. Still regarding Babylon, verse 27, set up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz, appoint a marshal against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough cankerworm, prepare against her the nations, the kings of the Medes, its governors, and all its deputies, and all the land of their dominion. The land trembles and is in pain, for the purposes of Yahweh against Babylon stand, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have stopped fighting. They remain in their strongholds. Their might has failed. They've become as women. Her dwelling places are set on fire. Her bars are broken. One runner will run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken on every quarter. So the passages are seized. They've burned the reeds with fire. The men of war are frightened. Comment in verses 27 to 32, wave the battle flag, blow the trumpet, call the nations against Babylon. Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz are the nations in the region of what is now eastern Turkey, Armenia, and northwestern Iran. Cyrus incorporated those nations into his kingdom, and they were among the nations that attacked Babylon. In verses 27 and on, appoint a field marshal, set men on horses against Babylon to consume her. Make the cavalry innumerable like caterpillar worms or locusts. Kings, governors, and deputies of all nations, rally yourselves against her. Babylon trembles and is in pain because Yahweh intends to destroy every inhabitant and will not change his mind. The mighty men of Babylon have lost their will to fight. They barricade themselves in their fortified cities and are afraid to join the battle. They've become as women. The enemy will break in and burn them out. The king of Babylon will receive runners from every direction, telling him the city is taken in every quarter, and the enemy controls the streets. In verse 32, the reeds are a symbol of the Babylonian homeland. The landscape was filled with shallow waterways and reeds. It'll be as if one giant wildfire swept across the land and burned down every reed. Jeremiah 51b is next.